Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Imagine a young woman walking into a powerful senator's office and calmly saying, I think you are my father. Yeah, that kind of afternoon can destroy a family. At the prestigious Dupree estate in Fairmont Crest, a young woman named Mona Race arrives with a letter from her late mother. What starts as a quiet meeting quietly explodes into a shocking revelation that Senator Vernon Dupree may have a secret daughter right in front of his unsuspecting wife. The afternoon sunlight stretched across the polished marble floors inside the Dupree estate, one of the most influential homes in all of Fairmont Crest. Everything about the house reflected power and legacy. Grand halls, expensive artwork, and the quiet authority of a family that had spent decades building its reputation. In his private office, Vernon Dupree stood near the tall windows, overlooking the perfectly trimmed gardens outside. As a senator and respected public figure, Vernon had spent his life maintaining discipline and control. His career had been carefully built, step by step, until his name carried weight across the city. But on this particular day, the past he thought he had buried forever was quietly walking toward his office door. A gentle knock broke the silence. Without even turning around, Vernon responded calmly. Come in. The door opened slowly, and a young woman stepped inside. She looked nervous but determined, holding a worn envelope tightly in both hands as if it were the most important objects in the world. Her name was Mona Reyes. She looked young, barely 22, but her eyes carried the kind of seriousness that suggested she had come for something important. Vernon finally turned to face her, his brow slightly furrowed. Yes? Can I help you? He asked in a polite but distant tone. Mona hesitated, clearly trying to gather the courage to speak. My name is Mona, she said quietly, and I think we need to talk. Vernon studied her carefully. Something about her face seemed strangely familiar, though he couldn't quite place why. Still, he wasn't used to strangers appearing in his office unannounced. I'm rather busy today, he replied. If this is about a political matter, my assistant can help you. It's not about politics, Mona said quickly. That made him pause. It's about my mother. The air in the room suddenly felt heavier. Vernon folded his arms slowly and asked, And who is your mother? Mona stepped forward and carefully placed the envelope on his desk. Her name was Elena Reyes. For a brief moment, Vernon's calm expression cracked. The name echoed through his memory like a distant voice from a life he had almost forgotten. Elena Reyes, a woman from decades earlier, from before the political campaigns, before the Senate seat, before he became the man everyone now respected. But Vernon quickly forced his expression back under control. Yes, he admitted cautiously. I knew someone by that name a long time ago. But that doesn't explain why you're here. Mona's hands trembled slightly. Before my mom died, she whispered, she told me something. Vernon's eyes narrowed. And what exactly did she tell you? Mona looked straight at him. She told me, you are my father. The silence that followed felt like thunder crashing through the room. Vernon simply stared at her, stunned. The words seemed unreal, like they were floating in the air waiting to make sense. Finally, he shook his head. That's impossible, he said firmly. You must be mistaken. I'm not. Mona replied quickly, pushing the envelope closer to him. She wrote this letter before she died. She told me to give it to you if I ever found you. Vernon hesitated before picking it up. The envelope looked old, its edges yellowed with age. But the moment he looked at the handwriting on the front, his heart skipped a beat. He recognized it immediately. It was Elena's handwriting. His hands trembled slightly as he opened the envelope and unfolded the letter inside. As he read the words, the color slowly drained from his eyes. The letter described a summer more than 22 years earlier. Back then, Vernon had been a young lawyer trying to build his career. Elena had been a visiting journalist in the city. Working on a short assignment, their relationship had been brief but intense. Long conversations, late nights, and a connection that felt bigger than either of them expected. Then Vernon had suddenly left the city after receiving an opportunity that launched his career. Elena wrote that shortly after he left, she discovered she was pregnant. She never told him, not because she didn't want to, but because by the time she tried to reach him, Vernon's life had already changed. He was rising in the world of politics, and she feared revealing the truth would destroy his future. So, she made a difficult choice. She raised Mona alone. The letter ended with a final message. If Mona ever finds you, please remember that she's the best part of both of us. Vernon slowly lowered the paper, his mind spinning. You expect me to believe this? He said quietly. Mona wiped a tear from her cheek. I didn't come here to ruin your life, she said. I just wanted to know the truth. For the first time, Vernon really looked at her. The shape of her eyes, the determined expression, the same stubborn tilt of the chin he had seen in his own reflection for years. A tiny seed of doubt crept into his mind. Does anyone else know about this? He asked. Mona shook her head. No, I came alone. Vernon leaned back in his chair and exhaled slowly. If this was true, the consequences could be enormous. His family, his reputation, everything he had built. What exactly do you want from me? He asked carefully. Mona looked genuinely hurt by the question. I'm not here for money, she said firmly. I have my own job. I take care of myself. Then why come here? Because my mom spent her whole life protecting your secret, Mona said softly. Before she died, she told me I deserved to know where I came from. The words hit Vernon harder than he expected. Memories he thought he had buried forever came rushing back. Elena's letter, their late night talks, and the promise he once made to write her after leaving. A promise he never kept. This could destroy everything. Vernon murmured, I know. Mona replied quietly. After a long moment of silence, Vernon stood up. If what you're saying is true, we need proof. Even a DNA test? Mona said. Yes. I'm willing, she answered immediately. Vernon studied her again, surprised by how calm she seemed. You don't seem afraid of the result, he said. Mona gave a small, sad smile. I've lived my entire life without a father, she said. The truth can't be worse than that. Before Vernon could respond, the office door suddenly opened. Standing there was Anita Dupree, Vernon's elegant and sharp minded wife. Her eyes immediately moved between Vernon and Mona. What exactly is happening here? Anita asked slowly. Vernon froze. Mona looked terrified. Anita stepped closer and noticed the letter in Vernon's hand. What letter is that? She demanded. Vernon hesitated, but before he could speak, Mona answered, My mother wrote it, she said quietly. Anita narrowed her eyes. And why would that concern my husband? Mona's voice trembled slightly because she said he's my father. The room fell completely silent. Anita looked at Vernon. Vernon looked back at her, unable to say a word. For the first time in decades, the powerful Dupree family stood dangerously close to a scandal that could shake all of Fairmont Crest. And the truth had only just begun to surface. If Mona's claim is true, the Dupree family could face a massive scandal that threatens Vernon's reputation, his marriage, and his political legacy. Honestly, moments like these are brutal but powerful. Mona isn't chasing money or fame. She just wants the truth about her life. And that makes the situation even more heartbreaking. So, what do you think? Should Vernon accept Mona and face the consequences, or protect his family and reputation first? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more dramatic story breakdowns.